The first time I took a look at a regular expression, I was pretty confused. And to be honest with you, instead of learning it right then and there, I decided to kind of push it back to the side and said, oh, I'll learn it one day, which is a big mistake, especially since I clean up a ton of data. And regular expressions, it makes it way easier. Well, I finally learned them and I've been using them a little bit, and it's been a game changer. So what I made for you guys today is a video I wish I had when I first started learning regular expressions. It's going to be about an hour long. I'll be going through a ton of different examples with you guys and covering essentially all the different types of meta characters that are out there. I try to explain everything pretty easily and build up the examples so that way you can see how each of the different concepts stacks on each other. We're also going to be covering our raw text as well as compiling, flags, and at the very end, we're going to be going through 3 different examples, one with email addresses, one with dates, another one with phone numbers, and showing you multiple ways on how to extract information with each of these. Because one of the beauties of regular expressions is there's always multiple ways to solve a question. There's a ton of flexibility. So I'm going to stop this ramble and we're going to start coding. Let's start learning regular expressions. All right, so let's get started. The first thing that we're going to want to do when you're working with regular expressions in Python is import RE. Now this is going to bring in our Python package that we specifically need. I'm using Google Colab. Feel free to use whatever you want to compile your Python code. I just prefer this for teaching. So after importing in RE, we are ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a string over here called greatest Olympians. Okay. And what we're going to do is a search first. So let's make our string of greatest Olympians. So I'm just going to put in a few names over here. First, Mark Spitz, famous swimmer. Then we're going to put Paavo Nurmi, famous runner. We'll put a few other runners in here. Carl Lewis. Then we'll put Michael Phelps in here, who swims. And lastly, we'll put Jesse Owens, runner. Okay, and let's run that cell, and now we have greatest Olympians. So what I want to do first is search this string for Paavo Nurmi. So I'm going to create something called search Nurmi. We're going to say that's equal to re.search. And inside over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Nurmi. Okay, and this is going to search this string over here for Nurmi, but we need to specify the string. So I'm just going to grab greatest Olympians and put that over here, right? So if Nurmi was found in here, let's just write a basic if statement. So if search Nurmi, which will tell you if this is in the string or not, print found, and then what we can do is we can create a group. So search Nurmi group, and that will print out essentially the string that matches. Else, and then we can just hit print and put in here not found. Okay, so since we know we have Nurmi in here, it's going to say found Nurmi. Awesome. So it searches this entire string. We have Nurmi right here, and that's why we found it. Now let's go with another Olympian. There's a famous Olympian called Johnny Weissmuller, and he was the original Tarzan. So they wanted a swimmer, a famous swimmer, to be the first Tarzan, and that's Johnny Weissmuller. He won a few gold medals, but he's not in this greatest Olympians list. So instead of search Nurmi, we're just going to put search Weissmuller. I think that's how you spell that. And okay, we're searching over here. And I'm just going to copy this if else. Oops, I accidentally put that there. We're just going to copy that if else. Go over here and we'll just change this to search Weissmuller. Like that. And you'll see it is not found. And actually, if you go here and you put this group, since it's not found, it's going to actually error out. So check that out. None type object has no attribute group because it's not found, right? But if you go over here to this search Nurmi, since it is found, it'll have that attribute of group, and you can see that Nurmi is all right there. So there's some variants on how we can search through all of these strings, and I'm going to show you those. This is just like our very basic example over here. And the next one we're going to do is match, and this only looks at the very beginning of a string. So what we're going to do is we're going to create something called Olympics over here, and what we're going to say, this is equal to the 1928 Amsterdam Games. So 1928 Amsterdam Games. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to say match 1928 equals, and we're going to say re.match. And we're just going to look for 1928, which is right in the beginning. And we're going to search through Olympics. And run that. Awesome. And we can do literally the same exact thing as we did above. I'm not going to use if else throughout the tutorial the entire time, but for to start, right, we can have if match 1928, print match 1928 group, else not found, and you can see it says found 1928. Now, here's the deal. This is just 1928 Amsterdam Games. So what if we do Amsterdam? So let's try that, right? So what I'm going to say is match, and we're going to put Amsterdam in here instead. So Amsterdam, and make sure I spell that exactly the same I have over here. And we'll put Amsterdam right here in Olympics for match Amsterdam. Awesome. And then it's a new code. We'll match this Amsterdam. You'll see it's going to say not found, because when we're looking through match, we're only looking at the very beginning of the string, this 1928. It's ignoring this Amsterdam and games. That's why we got a match with 1928, but we didn't get a match when we had Amsterdam, although it is in there. Awesome. So now we can take a look at essentially finding multiple matches in here. I'm going to show you two ways that you could do that. The first one we're going to do is find all, and I'll be using find all a lot in this tutorial. But what I'm going to go over here is all games. And what I'm going to do is we're going to put in some Olympic games that Paavo Nurmi competed in. So 1920, and then we're going to put the city name. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not too familiar with the city. So that's going to be our first one. Then 1924, we're here, Paris Olympics. And then lastly, we're going to put 1928 Amsterdam Olympics. Okay. Amsterdam Olympics, like that. Awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to say find all Olympics equals re.find all, and we're just going to look for Olympics. So Olympics, which I made sure it's capital O in all these. It is case sensitive. And then we're going to just search through all games like that. And first, if we want to see how many times this lines up, right, how many Olympics are in here, we can just do a length. So we can say length of find all Olympics. You can see that it is 3. Well, that's correct. 1, 2, and also 3, which is awesome. Now, we can also look at all the different matches in here. So what we can do is just go over here, and what we'll do is go find all Olympics. You can just literally print this out. It's just going to print out Olympics, right? Olympics, Olympics, Olympics. And if you really wanted to, right, you can just go over here, 0 elements, right? Olympics. It's going to be the same thing, right? Olympics, like that. Okay, now the find iter is going to be slightly different, and we're going to take a look at that. It looks for the non-overlapping matches of regular expression, and it returns the iterator. So we'll go through that now. One thing to note also is you can't use the length with this find iter. So if you want to find how many times something appears with using a length, use find all. I prefer using find all over find iter, but you could use either in your code. All right, so what we're going to do is literally essentially the same code over here. And I'm just going to relabel this over here as iter. So iter, and we're going to change this over here to find iter, like this, Olympics, all games. All right, I ran that, and let's just create a basic for loop. And I do apologize if you're not familiar with for loops or if else. I would hope you know a little bit about it before jumping into this video, but I do videos, at least in the for loop right now. I'm working if else video. But what we're going to say is for Olympics in find all Olympics iter, which is this over here. And I'm just going to show you a few things that we can grab from iter. So first thing we're going to say is match text equals, and it's literally just going to be Olympics.group. And let me actually just make this lowercase. And that's that group that I showed you a little bit earlier, right? But you can also get your starting position. So you can say start equals, and we can say Olympics.start. And you can also do the end, which I don't know why I copied all that, but we'll put end over here and grab end. Then you can also find the starting and end elements together, span. So we can just put span over here like that. And now if we wanted to print this, we can just say print. We're going to do an F string, which I have a video on those if you're not too familiar with it. I'm trying to make as many videos as possible for you guys. I'll say our match on here is this match text start end span, and I know I need to fix this, but and okay, so this should be correct. You can see 3 matches, Olympics. You can see the starting position, ending position, and the span for each of those. Awesome. Now we can also make changes within our string, and it's going to be through sub. So baseball wise, there's players that have changed their name over time. We're going to take a look at a hitter used to play for Miami Marlins. Now for the Yankees, his name used to be Mike Stanton. Well, I guess it technically is, but he goes by now Giancarlo Stanton. So you can just say text equals Mike Stanton. Now we define our pattern. So our pattern in this one is going to be equal to Mike, which would be capital M. Again, case sensitive. Okay. And then we're going to say our replacement in here. Replacement equals Giancarlo. That. And then we'll create a result. So result equals re.sub pattern replacement and text. And if we just put result down below, print it, or just type this out, you can see it's now changed to Giancarlo Stanton. And just to show you that this only works for the first one. If you do a count of 1, we'll do the same thing again. So we'll just say players text equals, and we'll just put 3 baseball players with Mike. So Mike Stanton, Mike Schmidt, and then also Mike Trout. So Mike Trout like that. Okay. We have all 3 of those over here. And then we'll just say like result 2 or something like that. And what you would have to do over here is count equals 1 if you only want the first one changed. Great. And look at result 2. Well, the reason why it didn't work, I need to change that to players text. So now result 2, you can see Giancarlo Stanton, Mike Schmidt, and Mike Trout. If you wanted to change this up, right, let's say result 3. And we'll say count equals 2. It's not correct though, because Mike Schmidt is the actual name, not Giancarlo Schmidt. But just for this purpose, just show you how we can change that up. There we go. Awesome. So now let me show you how you can split. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another player names, and we're going to fill this up with famous baseball players. So first, Babe Ruth, then Lou, Gehrig, Hank, Aaron, Mickey, Mantle, Willie Mays, and Ted Williams. And I'll just run that cell, create a new one down below. And first what we're going to do is set our pattern. So our pattern in this one equals all of strings like that. We're going to separate it by these commas, right? And what we're going to say is split names equals re.split pattern player names, like that. And we can print this out. So print, and we'll print out our split names. And you can see now we have each of these names that are split up from the string. And if you want to grab a specific name, right? Let's see, go over here and grab 3, which is Mickey Mantle. Remember, in Python starts at 0, so 0, 1, 2, and also 3. Feel free to change this up if you want to grab another player, right? Split names. So you grab 1, which would be Gehrig, and that is how split works. All right, so before we jump into some more examples, I think this is a good starting point to explain a concept called raw text. Best way to do that is through some examples. So what I'm going to start off is just a normal text. We're going to say non-raw text equals, and in here we're going to say first line, then I'm going to go /n, which some of you guys might know what that means. And we're going to say second line. Okay. And let's just print out this non-raw text. So print, and we'll print out non-raw text, right? And you can see how this is printed out. We have our first line and second line. /n creates a new line. Well, you can change this. So it literally just prints out first line /n second line, which is going to be important when we jump into more advanced regular expressions, because we're going to be using this slash quite a bit. So let me show you how we can do that. And what you're going to see is raw text equals, and all you have to do is put an R. So I'll just copy all this inside over here again, because I'm not going to type that out. And we have our raw text. Great. Now, if we print this out, this prints out verbatimly what is in here, right? It doesn't matter that /n technically creates a new line. It's printing everything out. And this is identified by this R. You can see print first line /n second line. So when you're working with regular expressions, it's kind of expected that you use raw text. Just throw an R in front of your strings and you will be good to go. So just to show you another example, just to reiterate this process, we're going to say text with tab like this. And we're going to say that equals to, and we'll put column 1 /t, column 2 /t, and then column 3 like this. Okay. And then if I just print this out, text with tab, right? These are all tabbed over. But if I want to just have the raw text version and raw here, and I'm just going to copy all this again. Just scroll down. And if I print that out, print raw text with tab, check it out, column 1 /t, column 2 /3. So I think this is a good segue into some ways you can start matching characters. So I think this is a good segue for more examples. So I'll mostly be using find all from now on. But let's start. So what I'm going to have over here, we're going to say our pitcher is going to be equal to Satchel Paige. Great baseball pitcher. And awesome. So we have our pitcher. And what we're going to say is re.findAll. And inside over here, there's a few different ways that you could approach this. I'm just going to put my matching in here, but I'm just going to say R on this side of things. And inside over here, I'm just going to put a period like this. And we're going to put picture in here, right? This is our string we're going to match from, but we just have a period. And check it out. We have satchel, space, and then also page. So what a period does is it matches any character minus any new line backslash. So pretty cool with that. So what you can also do is you can use this in between text. So let's go another find all, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a P, and then we're going to have an I, right? So we're going to match, and also again, it's case sensitive, so make sure capital P. But it doesn't matter what this middle character is, right? Anything that matches the pattern where P starts, and we have a dot, and we have an I. So check this out, PAI. Well, we could also use a space, right? If I go in here and I go L.P, right? L space P. This is really awesome. Now, what we can do is we can also specify a number of characters. So the way that we can do that, again, very easy. We can go over here, and what we're going to do this time is start with an S, is we're going to get satchel over here, or satch to print out. And I'm going to start with an H. Well, you can't just put one dot, right? So S, then we want A, T, C, and we're going to print out H. So we need 3. Way you do that is you put in these squiggly brackets, and you just put 3 in here. So this takes a look at this dot, right, or period, and we're looking for 3 characters before an H. So now you can see satch. So again, one more time to explain this. We're starting with S, then we have this dot or period, which matches any character. We're looking for 3 characters, and then we're going to end on H, and that prints out satch. Okay, awesome. Now what we can do is we're going to take a look at this caret key like that. So we're going to continue with our satchel page example, and we're going to continue with our raw string. And this time we're going to use a caret over here, and we're going to say dot, and then we're going to say A. So we're looking at the beginning of a string, right? That's what this does. And we're looking for a character before A. Well, we have S over here. So this will print out SA. And look at that. Sweet. We can really change this out if we wanted to, right? But that's how this works. You just go over here, just show you another example. Right, so let's say we wanted to have 2, right? And instead of A this time, we'd want to have A, T, would want C. I think that's what it's going to work. Well, it's not C, sorry. It should be this T. I apologize. And you can see it is sat, right? Beginning 2 before T, right? S and also A. And that's why this one works over here. Well, opposite, if we want to match at the end of a string, we're going to use is a $sign. So we'll just do this find all. And what I'm going to put inside over here this time is we're going to put GE and then a $sign. Right? And it matches the GE at the very end, right? And you could combine this if you really wanted to. Once again, G, then again, any character at the very end, same exact thing. Awesome. So kind of another good segue. We're going to stop with some baseball examples now, but we're going to be taking a look at repetitions. So there's 3 different ways that we could do this. So the first one we're going to take a look at is a star. And the star matches 0 or more repetitions of the preceding character. So what we're going to do is we're going to say some text, and let's just put some junk text in here. I thought this would be the best approach rather than just putting baseball names again. We'll just put like ABB. Again, it doesn't matter. We're just doing this for the example like this. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is an re find all, re.find all. And we're going to put over here is R. And we'll put AB star and then text. Right. So preceding character matches. So you can see 0 or more, right? So AB, A, ABBB, ABBB, A, ABB, that works there. Okay. Now we're going to want to look at 1 or more repetitions, and that's going to be through a plus icon. So let's put that over here. So all we're going to do is change this to a plus. And this time, right, we need to have 1 or more repetitions. So we see AB shows, right? ABB again shows, ABBB shows. We don't have these A's, and then ABB. And then lastly, what we want to do is 0 or 1. And the way we can do that is through a question mark. So you put a question mark over here, find all, and you can see AB, right? A, AB, AB, A, B, right? 0 or 1 repetitions, that will show it. So just one more time to go over this. 0 or more, right? 1 or more, 0 or 1. Awesome. So let's keep moving forward with that. So we're going to go back to some baseball examples. This is technically a different section, but I just felt like it was pretty good to put this in here before going into some other stuff. All right, so back to matching some characters. If we want to match any digit, you're going to use something called /d, right? So we're going to go back over here and we're going to create a new string. We're going to say satchel MLB years, and we're going to say that's equal to, and I'm going to write this out. So satchel, man, that was horrible spelling. Satchel page played for the Indians in 1948 and 1949. Browns in 1951, 1952, and 1953. Okay, so we have that, and let's just create a new cell. We'll create a few new cells. And if we want to match any of these digits, we can just do re.find all. And then inside over here, our roll string once again, we're going to do /d. And then we'll just put in here satchel MLB years, right? And you'll see all of the digits. Awesome. Now, what we can do is we can specify, just like I showed you a little bit earlier, right? These squigglies, number of digits in a row. And we're taking a look at years, right? So we want to grab all of these years in this example. So the way that I would do that is we have /d, and then you just put your squiggly in here, you put 4, and check it out, 1948, 49, 51, 52, and also 53. Again, we can go over here. If we do actually a capital D, we take a look at non-integers or non-digits, right? So you can see satchel page played. And if you want to specify a certain amount, over here and see like 5, right? You can see it's kind of disgusting because it does include white spaces like that. But you can see Satch starts off over there. And it's important to know this because you'll be able to use it a little bit later in some examples that I go over. But in this practical example, not the best. Okay, so awesome. We have that over here. We also have W, that's kind of common to use. /W matches any word character. So what we can do is, again, just go over here and just go /W. Right. And I'm not going to show you this example with the squiggly, but we can do anything like that. Okay. The difference though between this /w and dot, so if you remember earlier we showed the dot where it showed all these characters, is the dot matches anything minus the new line. W only matches characters. So you can see that there's no spaces with your W. And you can also see, once again, you have those integers that are in here as well, the digits, but no spaces. So that's what that does. Now, let's take a look at our capital W now, which is any non-word character. So like you can see like spaces, new lines, different things like that. Capital W, you can see all the spaces, the commas, again, any non-word characters on that side of things. Awesome. What we can take a look at is /s. It's gonna be very similar. So what /s does is it's gonna match any white space characters. So any of your spaces, right, all across the board. But unlike what we showed above with the capital W, right, capital W, we have a period or a dot, commas, /s does it not. And then capital S is the opposite, right? So if we go to capital S, it'll match any non-white space character. Again, just all of this over here. So we're going to go over more examples, but just to show you, like, there's multiple ways that you can build out your regular expressions. And when we go through the examples at the end, I'm going to actually have you guys build out a few different methods on how you can extract some text from strings. But that'll be at the very end. Okay. So now what we're going to take a look at is kind of like the boundary of words. We kind of already covered it a little bit with the caret and the $sign. But something you'll see in code is /b. So just lowercase /b is at the beginning or the end of a sentence or a word. So let me just copy this satchel MLB years again, just so you guys can see what this looks like. Right, so just basic text over here. And let's say we want to find all words that start with a P, right? So we have satchel, we have page, player, right? And we're going to match anything with a capital P. So how do we do that? All right, let's write this out. So we're going to say re.find all. Inside over here, we're going to create our all string again. And what we're going to do is /b, right? So we want to have this at the very first part of a word. And what we're going to put is the letter P, okay? Then we're going to put W, right? Because we want to have the text over here. And if we go back into our W example, right? Where is that at? You can see /w, we printed out everything. So we're going to be using /w, and then we're going to be going and printing out a star. And again, why I kind of showed star and plus and question mark, we go back over here to our star, right? So 0 or more repetitions of the preceding character. You can technically change that up, but we go over here where you find all, and we actually need to throw it into these satchel years right here. You can see it's page or players. And just to show you, you can do some little bit of variations, right? Let's say we have 1, right? This plus 1 or more, page and player. And you could also put a question mark on here, and this works too in this case, right? So, but if we go here and put a question mark, it's not going to work the same. And you can see it only shows PA and PL. So make sure star or plus, you want to grab the full word. If you go over here to the question mark, you're not going to be grabbing that full word. Okay, now let's go to capital B. So let's find all words containing R that are not at the very end or the start. And that's what capital B takes a look at. So what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this and we're going to write this from scratch this time. Okay, so since we're looking in the middle, we want to have /B on both sides, right? So we're gonna have the start and the end be /b's, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have W, right? Any type of these characters. Then we're gonna put star over here, and we're gonna put R, okay? Because we're looking for R, and then same exact thing, / over here, W, like this, and star. So we just make sure everything here, I actually forgot one slash. So it should be /b /w star R, right? /w star B, like this. And you can see we have round over here because played for the Browns. R is in the middle over here. So that's why that worked. If you want to grab A, right, just change that up. That'll have a lot more words, right? Satchel, page, but that's how you can go and grab that. Now I want to show you that you can grab specific ranges also. So this is, I personally like using ranges a lot more than a lot of this stuff above. I mean, they all have their use cases, but I find it a lot easier to read on this side of things and kind of know what's going on because I haven't memorized all these regular expressions, right? I just have to look this up and sometimes try to debug to figure out how to make something work properly. So I like this. We're going to say re.findAll. And inside over here, we're going to say R like this. Then we're going to say A through Z. And this is only going to look at capitals, right? And we define that, right? Capital A and capital Z. And it's going to look for anything like that. So S, P, P, I, and also B. But we can also specify that. Like we don't have to go through A through Z. We could just say A through C, right? And you can see only B now works. You can specify your range, right? Same thing works for lowercase side of things. So what I'm going to do this time is we'll just put lowercase a and we'll put a G over here. And you'll see there's nothing greater than G in here. We go from A through G. And to show you one more side of things, if you want to specify just like a few letters, right? Let's say we just want to have A and E only. Go over here and we have A and E. Now this also works for digits or integers, whatever, right? So we can go over here and do the same thing, 0 through 9. Print all those out. If you want to just put 0 through 4, right? All those are printed out over here. Let's say you want to grab this over here. We'll just copy this. Go 0 through 9 again. And we want to have 4 there so we can grab the years 1948, 49, 51, 52, and also 53, which is awesome. So let's keep moving forward. And by the way, if you guys are finding value in this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. So I showed you guys a lot of backslashes and different things like that. Well, a question might come in your mind is like, what if we just want to search for like a period or a question mark? How does that work? Because we've used those in some examples above. Well, if you want to use an actual period or a question mark, you have to put a backslash in front of it. So we'll put example over here, and we're going to say is, what is a question? This is text. I don't know, weird, right? But just to go through this example, I feel like that works. Okay, so we can say re.findAll R, and then we can go over here and put a period, and then just put example, right? And great, grabs that period here at the end. And we can do the same thing with a question mark. Just put that in over here. So if you want to use those, backslash, and then put your period or your question mark. Now, there's also, you can do an either or, so like an or statement in here. So let's say we wanted to grab a period or a question mark. And this works more than just with these examples. We'll just start with that first though. So we'll go over here and we'll start off with this period. Then you put in your pipe, and then we'll do the same thing over here, right? You can see question mark and period. And just to show you that other stuff works for this as well. Let's say our first part is going to be, just grab something. We'll say like we want A through C. And then in here we'll say, I don't know, I through L. And you can see this is printed out. Well, there's no I through L, is there? There should be. Oh yeah, there's I right there. I'm blind. It's been a little bit of long video recording, but regardless, that is how this works. All right, so I'm gonna jump into compile as well as flags. So everything above, I didn't use compile, so you don't necessarily have to use it, but you will see a lot of example code with it. So I felt like I needed to cover it in this video. Flags, also there's a ton of flags. I'm not gonna cover every flag in the video, but we're gonna go over a few of the more common ones. But essentially what compile does is it compiles a regular expression pattern into a regular expression object. And inside compile, you can also set your flags. So let's go over a few examples on that. So, all right, so let's get started. What we're gonna do is pattern equals re.compile. And inside over here, we're gonna create a regular expression. We're gonna say R, and I'm gonna start with /b. Now, here's the thing. I'm not gonna put /b on every single example that I go through in the video. You do see /b in a lot of source code, but sometimes you don't see it. So it's not always necessary. I'm not gonna put it every time. But I'm gonna throw it in every once in a while. So I'm gonna say strikes. We're gonna look for strikes in essentially the string that I'm gonna be creating. So that's our pattern. And of course I can't spell compile, which is a great way to start this section, but that's okay. So now you have that over here. So we're gonna say match equals pattern dot search. And we're going to search the string. So we're going to say Bob Feller strikes out Ted Williams. Okay. And obviously strikes is right here. So we should find a match. And we're going to say print over here match.group, which we covered group a little bit earlier in this video, right? And you can see strikes. It's awesome. Okay. Let's go over another example over here. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to look at ignoring a case. So what we're going to just say is pattern equals re.compile. And inside over here, we'll say R Feller like this. Now, obviously we have capital F, but this is lower on here. But we're going to say re.ignore case. Right. And we have the same exact thing over here. Then what I'm going to do is we're going to put over here match as pattern search again. And if I print this out, I should get Feller. And you can see capital F. Although we put in a lowercase f over here, since we put in the flag ignore case, we now have capital Feller. Now, this is another flag over here. We can actually take a look at multi-line. So what we're going to have is pattern equals recompile. And what we're going to take a look at this time is Bob. Now, we're going to look for Bob at the beginning. So we're going to put a caret like this. And we're going to look at multi-line. So we're going to put multi-line like this. All right. So now we are going to search multi-line. Let's create our text. We're going to say text on here equals. And since we're doing multi-line, we'll have Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax, Tom Seaver, and Bob Feller. Okay. And create some new lines. And this time we'll do matches equals pattern dot find all. We're going to go back to find all. I like find all best, but we're going to put in our text over here. And if I print out our matches like matches. Check it out. We have two Bobs. We have Bob Gibson at the top. We have Bob Feller here at the bottom. That's with our multi-line. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the .all flags. So what we're going to start off is pattern equals re.compile. And inside over here, we're going to put string of Kofax dot Tom, and then we're going to say re dot all. Awesome. And then our next line, we're going to say text equals, and it's literally going to be like the same exact text over here. But I'm just going to specify all these new lines. So what I do is /n, and I'm just going to copy this /n. Should be good with that. Awesome. Then we're going to say match equals pattern dot search. Put our text in here. Let's scroll down a little bit. And if we just print out our match dot group, print match dot group like that. You can see Kofax and also Tom. It doesn't matter. We have this is /n. We have the dot all on this side of things that we can match it pretty easily. Awesome. So what we're going to do is one last example. And I guess throughout this video, I should have been labeling our sections. So we're going to say multiple flags example. Do you guys like when I label these sections? I don't know. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes I don't. I'm going through these tutorials. But we can also use multiple flags. So we aren't limited to one each time we go through compile. So we're going to say pattern equals re.compile like this. And we're going to search for Bob. So R, and inside over here, Bob, which needs to be the front. So put that over here. And how we can do multiple is we can say .ignore case. We have this type over here, re.multiline. Awesome. So we have that first. And then we're just going to copy this text that we had above. We're going to go over here and grab that. So we have all this text. Then we're going to say matches equals pattern dot find all our text. Well, actually, first off, I made one mistake. This Bob needs to be lowercase. I actually changed that in my example for my source code, but I didn't put that here. So lowercase Bob, capital Bob. That's why we have the two flags, right? All right, so matches equals pattern find all text on here. And then if we print our matches, we should get two Bobs. So print matches, and look at it. We have capital Bob and also lowercase Bob. So, and this is the first part of this on here. We're going to go through some more complicated examples now. So more complicated examples. All right. So for our first example, this is a classic one. It's going to be matching email addresses. So what I'm going to have in this string is email string. We're going to say equals contact my email, Ryan Nolan data at gmail.com for freelance projects, which if anyone's watching, I am taking on some freelance projects right now. Awesome. So we have that email string. Now, how do we extract this email? We're going to go through a few different ways that we could do this. Well, I'm going to do two different ways for each of the examples that we go through. So first, let's create this pattern. So pattern equals R, and inside over here, we're going to do /b, and we'll have /b at the end. Again, remember, I'm not going to use this all the time, but I think it's helpful. And we can have W plus, we'll have an @ sign over here, right? And then /w plus, and then we'll have dot /w plus. I think that is what I wrote originally for this video. And hopefully it works, right? So re find all pattern and email string. RyanNolandData@gmail.com. Awesome. So remember, B is our boundaries, right? Then we have our /W, which will get us all of these characters. We have the plus over here, so we can grab multiple, right? Whatever matches. Then we have the @ sign over here. We're looking for the @ sign. Then same thing, right? We have more stuff going on, more text. Then a dot for our dot right over here. Remember, I showed you the \dot, so we could use our dot. And then we have W plus for the .com. And that is the first way we could do that. Be a little bit complicated, but let's go through another pattern. So if we want to have another pattern over here, we'll call this pattern 2 equals, and let's set another R over here. So we're going to just build this out. So what we can do is we can have A through Z. You have A through Z, 0 through 9, underscore, plus this, anything that could be in an email address. And we're going to say plus our @ sign, like that. Then it's going to literally be essentially the same thing all over again. 0, 9, that, plus over here, and once again, all of this junk. And print this out. We'll say pattern 2. RyanNolandData@gmail.c. Well, it didn't work because I forgot plus here at the end. .com. So 2 different ways that you could extract it, and there's a lot more other ways. So just to show you that you don't always have to follow the same approach to solving each question when you're using regular expressions. So that's email. Let's go through a phone number example. So we're going to have phone string like this equals contact my phone number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 for freelance projects, like that. And that's our phone string. Awesome. And then let's create another pattern. So pattern 3 equals R, and start 0 through 9, 0 through 9. And then we'll put 3 over here. Remember I showed you it's gonna have 3 digits, and we can just keep repeating this, right? And last one's 4. So pattern 3, and then re.findAll, pattern 3, phone string 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. And if you want another way to do this, let's set up pattern 4. Right. Set our boundaries again. So /b, then we're going to do /d, or digits 3. And just keep going forward with this, right? 4, and then another /b to end it. And go through here, change this to pattern 4, our same phone number. And lastly, let's go through a date example. We're going to say date equals today is 05/28/2024, and pattern 5 equals R. We're going to go through here 0 through 9 like that. We're going 2 from there. slash, then we're going to go same thing again. And lastly, for 105 dates, grabs our dates. And one more time, we'll do a pattern 6. Right, so this time it says 0 through 9. We can just do slash D, right, 2 slash D and slash D. This is our last example. And our date is down below. So pretty long video, right? We had 133 lines. So just again, to kind of reiterate some of the talking points on this video, to get started with regular expressions in Python, import RE. There's a lot of ways that you could search through all the text. You have RE search, which showed you anywhere on here. We have match, which was only in the beginning. Find all versus find iter, which searches through everything and has multiple examples. You can sub out sections on here, right, through sub, and can also break this up on here, right, splitting it and split into your list. Then you can just grab specific parts of your list. And then I went over as well what raw strings are, right? And the reason why we want to have those because of the backslashes, right? We have these slashes over here. And if we don't do raw strings, you may have some issues with your code. So make sure just to do that over here. And I went through a bunch of different ways you can look at characters as well as, matches 0, right? We have star, plus, and also your question mark. I just keep going down more. I'm not going to cover all of this again. You can rewind the video. There's also a lot of graphics online with that. Boundaries with slash B, uppercase versus lowercase. Then you have your ranges. Remember, it's case sensitive. So A through Z like this, if you want to capitalize, lowercase as well. You can just put letters together in these brackets and that works as well on that side of things. And you can also use them for numbers. If you want to look for a period or a question mark, remember to use a slash and then put that over there. If you use a pipe, it's either or. And then you can use compile if you want to use flags as well. I don't really use compile, but there's a lot of source code online that used it. So I felt like it was important to share with you guys. And you can use multiple flags if you want. And then we went over a few examples. Remember, there's so many different ways that you could extract text. It depends on how it is. And also, this is pretty helpful when you're working with data frames as well. And maybe I'll make that into another video if you guys want to see that. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel. This video, I'm sure, is probably about an hour long, so it took a ton of effort to make. And if you want to check out some other videos on my channel, I have some related videos down below that I recommend that you check out. And if you want to look at a data science project that also utilize regular expression, I have it right over here.